Welcome to the Inwards and Upwards show, another wonderful show with another beautiful, highly sensitive human being talking about what it is to be highly sensitive in today's difficult and sometimes tumultuous world where we've come across many different challenges because of our highly attuned nervous system and how we see the world, which tends to make us a little bit more spiritual than other people, which is okay. So we're all different. We're all looking at the same picture from different angles. So we're going to get Raminta's perspective today on being a highly sensitive human being. And I'm really pleased to say she's actually from Lithuania. And we were talking a little bit before this. And she says she's only been here 2 months. So give her a really big warm welcome to England, all the English people watching here. So Raminta, welcome to the
Thank
show.
you.
What brought you to England? What brought you to England?
Hello, everyone listening to us. I'm really happy being here in UK. Now I'm based in London. It's only 2 months here. I never moved out from my country before, so it's my first time. So it brings a lot of new experiences. And as a highly sensitive person, it's pretty challenging. And what brought me here in Lithuania, I was a speaker, a coach, trainer. I worked with people. I did really nice projects. But at some point, I felt like I'm not fulfilling my purpose fully. That I always want to speak in English to share with broader audience because in Lithuania, we are only 3 million people speaking our own language. So it's really small, very beautiful, but small community. And I always felt that I meant for more. And many years ago, I started even writing my speeches or articles in English, feeling that it's the way I should communicate with the world. And many years have passed, and I knew I have this dream, but I didn't do much about it. I didn't know much about it. And last July, I was at Tony Robbins' event. Probably most of you have heard of it. And it was really transformational event for me, even though I didn't expect. Because I've been to many events like this, self-development, spirituality, and so on. And I thought, why would I go to another event? I mean, I'm enough already. But a few months before that, I remember that I was talking to my angels. This is what my mom used to taught me to talk to my angels, and I asked my angels for guidance because at that moment I was really lost. I felt like for a few years I'm not doing much. I mean, I'm in a comfort zone, and I didn't know what to do about my path. And when traveling in Malaysia, I got an ad with Tony Robbins, and I didn't want to go, but I understood, okay, angels, I asked for guidance, and this is the guidance. And at that event, I saw that now is the time to become a global speaker, as I always wanted. Not tomorrow, now. And that I have to move to UK. And actually, I love UK. I'm really enjoying being here. But the first thought for me was, why UK? Maybe I should go somewhere where there was sunny weather, not so much rain. Why UK? Why you
Yeah,
want me to go to UK?
yeah.
And at first I tried to resist this, calling, but every month I kept coming back to UK for one event or another event. And yeah, and from February I'm here. I'm living here, and I'm still pretty don't know what I'm gonna do here, but I really feel that it's my calling, and that I have to be here. So I followed my intuition, I followed the guidance, and from rational perspective, many things didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I felt that this is the way I have to go. This is the way I should do. And
Mm.
very interesting thing that on this journey, on this adventure, being in London, I posted a lot of things, what I'm doing here, how my time is great. And a few days ago, I posted a photo with me, how do I look like after all night crying out? Highly sensitive person. And I wanted to publish it because everyone is telling me, oh, you're so lucky, you are in London, everything's so fine, so great, it's a new stage of life. But people don't know what happens in my heart, what happens at nights, what happens when I'm not having fun. There's a huge pain, sorrow, many difficult emotions that I have to deal with making such a huge change in my life. And what's interesting, and it's encouragement for all highly sensitive people, that when I posted this photo, how I look like sitting in the airport after a short trip to Vilnius to Lithuania, uh, I got so many messages, encouraging messages, love messages, people telling their stories, how they went through the challenges and struggles. And it felt like opening up. Uh, Other people's also followed and opened up. And it's with this, with being honest and sharing it with each other, we can heal the world. That's
Yes.
that's the thing that I carried
Beautiful. That's a
away.
beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful story. So it is that dark night, isn't it, that really makes you, oh, do I really say anything about this? Because our little ego kicks in and go, no, we've got to look out. We're doing really well and everything's really smooth and hunky dory. But it's those dark nights that you realize that when you share them and you say, hey, I remember doing that when I was in a high pressured sales job, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. So I literally
Yeah.
made the decision there and then to put the keys through the estate agent's uh, door where I had a flat with a mortgage, and I walked out of my really high paid sales job at the time. It was a lot of money at the time. Decided to become a professional musician, and I never looked back.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
went homeless at points. I had no money at all at points. But that whole 10, 15 years that I did it was such a an enlightening journey, because there was those dark nights and the highs were astronomical, playing in front of thousands of people, meeting
Mm.
people every week who were different and interested in me because I was a musician, and realizing that I was highly sensitive. But I get that. So what when you're in Lithuania, we were speaking a few weeks ago, you're talking about is a fairly spiritual country. I'm quite interested to hear that because I'm really into the esoteric myself. We I've had out of body experiences, and I've really seen entities in this material realm come into this material
Yeah.
realm. So I'm really into the spiritual side, not necessarily the astral side, but more the causal
Mm.
side, more what the whole theme of a country is. Because 3 million people is less than half the size of London. It's tiny.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So wow,
it's pretty small community comparing
that sounds
to
wonderful.
UK, and I also, when you're living in your country and you don't question things, it's for you, it's normal. And for me, a lot of friends of mine are spiritual, into self-development. I'm surrounded by these people. But when I started talking with people from other countries, I realized that in other, for example, neighborhood, there's not so many events, there's not so many courses as in our country. Basically, you can find anything. I mean, any any spiritual course, any energetic course, and there are so many people there who are interested in this. And sometimes we are joking that everyone is a coach right now, because a lot of
That's
people have finished coaching courses. I don't know, I'm just getting familiar about how things in UK, and maybe you can expand a little bit about that. But what I noticed, this spot on Earth is really attracting even a lot of spiritual teachers. And I
yes,
heard, I don't know, I didn't do a research, but I heard from people that some teachers who go only to, for example, to teach to Russia, USA, and Lithuania. I mean, it's such a weird option, having in mind that many people don't know even where Lithuania is, but for some reason, energetically, it's very strong point, and it attracts teachers, and teachers go there, come to Lithuania to teach different topics, and it's always full of people, and I'm really amazed, and I think that our country, Lithuania, really has some bigger purpose, meaning in the world for the future. That's the only thing I could think of right now. Another reason is we are really highly educated and intelligent and hardworking country.
Amazing.
Uh, yeah, because before that we belonged to Soviet Union. After that, we were trying to do our best to follow Western, and this is why we became really, passionate about doing things better, better, better. Of course, we have lower self-esteem. This is also the consequences of our history. But
Mm.
at the same time, this lower self-esteem brings us to learn more, to do things better, to go one course after another. Sometimes it becomes addiction. One of the topics that I also speak about is stop fixing yourself with another diploma because it's really an issue in my country,
Yeah.
maybe everywhere else. So yeah, I'm also amazed about the situation that we have. We have very big festival of consciousness also in Lithuania, like 5,000 people in 10 days. I mean, in our country, it's a lot.
Mm.
So we have really, really many nice things. So please come.
Yeah, I'd love
Probably,
to. I will do. I will do. Yeah.
probably, yeah, probably some of the events will be in Lithuania, so that might be challenging. But but yeah, and for some reason, it is like it is. And I'm curious about UK, about your experience, and what are you hearing, and what's
UK
your yeah.
UK is a very mixed bag. We had the National Health Service, which was brought in to be the free health service. So people have been conditioned more to have their health and well-being looked after by a professional doctor. And therefore we think there's like a magic pill or like a super potion that you take and it fixes you. Whereas in America, it's a lot different. Coaching is a lot more prevalent over there. So people have to pay for their health service. So they are actually prepared to pay for their self-development and their spiritual development as well. It's changing in the UK now because the NHS system is falling apart really, and people are starting to lose faith in the medical industry because it's become so corrupted, and
Okay.
therefore they're looking for alternatives. So there will be a big turnover of that, and there will be more people looking for self-development, and that trend is starting to change where in the UK people are starting to look more at what they are, because most people don't even know what highly sensitive means. So I remember going on the HSP summit speaking with Jill Jill Hass, and I got many discovery calls saying, "Well, I didn't even realize I was highly sensitive." So, well, yes, you are. Because people think it's like over touchy about things, or like, oh, you're shrinking violets, but it's actually your system is more sensitized to sensory input, and that's what it is. And so, therefore, if we are riddled with bad emotions, thoughts, feelings, and everything, that all comes up when we're having sensory input, and that's where the difficulties happen. And people are only just starting to realize that, I think, in this country, and starting to actually move towards a more spiritual place, because we've had like a control system or a conditioning system pushing everybody towards almost atheism, i.e., it's just the material world. There's nothing beyond that, which is like Richard Dawkins, people like that have been talking about that for many years. But now he's even saying that the Christian values of this country are really important to keep hold of, because you need to have like a higher authority to actually tell you what's happening. So we've been raised as Christians in this country, but it's to me it's gone so far away from the teachings of Jesus. It's more
Yes.
about materialism how you turn this over. So people go to church every Sunday. I'm not really knocking them, but this is how they do it. They go to church every Sunday
Mm.
thinking that's their spiritualism,
Yeah.
come home, do the same thing, and then go back to church and ask for forgiveness for those same cycles. So to me,
Yeah.
spiritualism is breaking those cycles so that you become your true authentic you, your true self, so that you can move yourself into a better position. And that is hard. And the trouble is, I hope this is clear. Trouble is with that is we're also conditioned to go to the doctor, get the tablet, get the fix, and then carry on. And then we just keep doing this cycle. And by the time you get into your 40s, 50s, 60s, stops working because the resilience of the body stops working. You can't take any more medication. So people become into crises, which
Yeah.
is why when I set my Qigong charity up for the elderly people in my local area, when people come to that, and even people in their 80s have said, I've never been able to sit down quietly on my own ever. Now, since taking your class for 4 months, now I can sit down, close my eyes, start focusing on my breathing. I can do it now. And I'm going, wow,
Wow.
we should be doing this in schools. We should be learning all
Yeah,
this in
exactly.
schools, but we're not doing that. We're not actually celebrating this vehicle. It's just a vehicle at the end of the day. It's our consciousness that carries on, and people are just slowly starting to pick up on that. 10 years ago, if I were to say what I say every Qigong class that I teach, people would go, get out of here. This, what are you talking about? Now they're going, well, that's interesting. It's like last night I was talking about where does energy come from? Because we don't really know where energy comes from. I started to talk about the Higgs boson particle and how that brings energy into this material world. And then we have like a divine or a sacred geometry that brings this into manifestation. So we're all literally holograms, basically. And people are going, well, yeah, this sounds interesting. And then the layers of spirituality gets deeper and deeper as we go out with our energy body. So it's
Yes.
difficult to explain it here because we're very left brain in England, very left brain,
Oh, okay.
which is like the artists and
Mhm.
musicians and the poets and
Mhm.
all right brain. So you have lots of them, but they're all the renegades of our society. It's all like marching forward. But that's changing as well because of the immigration into this country. The culture is slowly changing, and that stiff conservatism is kind of breaking down. Of like, this is how it is. There's nothing outside of this. Because if you look at the British culture of going to other countries and trying to change their culture, that was a mistake because you should, whenever you go to another country, you should always respect their culture. But what that did, that brought in many different cultures into this country, which this country, Great Britain, has always been like that throughout history. It's like a little island where everybody keeps coming in, like the
Yeah.
Danes have come in and the Spanish have come in, and it's like so it's a big mixture of people. We're like an island of mongrels, really. And this new interaction with, say, the Muslim world and the Asian world with the Hindu religion and the Vedic philosophies is creating something a little bit more deeper connection with what we are as human beings. And I think that's so important, especially as a highly sensitive human being. It makes me go, phew, thank goodness for this. I just thought we were going on a highway to hell there. So it's
Yeah.
good. So that's why it seems to be, I think, a little bit difficult in this country because you've got the taboos that are slowly coming down, but the veil is coming up
Mm.
and people are accepting this more. So I think you come to England in the right time because this is going to be unraveling and unfolding as we go further. Which is why I do what I do. I speak to people like yourself, and just to try and highlight that there's lots of us doing this work, and there's lots of us who want to help other people get to a point where they can make that leap. You know, that leap you did to come over to London is so brave. So well done for you. But it's to make that leap so that you can change your life so you don't have to worry about all these ties and commitments that you've got. Yeah. So
Thank you.
what were you doing in what are you doing now then? Are you got plans at the moment what you're doing with your business?
At the moment, mostly I consult online. It's coaching sessions. It's also cognitive behavioral therapy because I finished these studies in Lithuania. I also do seminars, events. It's yeah, for this moment, it's mostly online, but I'm getting invited into events in London, so I'm doing first steps here, and looking for more opportunities to share, to contribute, because at this time, at this place, I'm not following like my rationals, my goals, or yeah, I have to become, a global speaker and be the, I don't know, speak on the biggest stage here. No, it doesn't come from the point of ego or goals. It comes from the question why I'm here and how can I serve? How can my talents, my experiences help to these people, to this country, or to the world? Because I don't know yet, and I just follow my inner guidance, my intuition, and meeting wonderful people here. This is how we met at Money and
Yeah,
Abundance event, which was really amazing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
who knew? Who knew we would meet and we would have a podcast? So that you never know. So I just follow. Sometimes I see the event online, and it doesn't make any sense for me to go there. I mean, it's not the topic that I'm interested in. For example, I've been to political debates already. This is the thing that I would never go. I see some events. I go there and I meet wonderful people because yeah, my guides know that I have to be there, so I just follow. It's easy as that. The only struggle and the only challenge is always trust. uh,
oh yes, yeah.
yes, this is the thing that I have to work on. But if I'm really honest, if I trust and surrender, then everything happens smoothly. So this is the biggest thing that I have to focus on.
I
Not to
fuck
think of ideas, plans, but just to follow.
to flow,
Yes,
go with the
yes, yes,
flow.
flow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Trust is very interesting word because when you try to hold on to things, when you reach out to people, and you're trying to hold on to, oh, I got to really trust them.
Mm.
Actually, when you let it go, what comes up, if it's not a trustworthy situation, actually you have a lesson to learn in that situation. So as long as you've got your barriers in the right place, especially as a highly sensitive human being, as long as you've got your barriers in the right place and you're not giving yourself away, you can learn to trust people to a certain extent. I'm not saying being silly, go into a group of people and then get lost and maybe even damaged by them or whatever. But you can keep the distance from them, but you can trust them to a certain extent to say, okay, let this flow. And this has happened to me in a few times actually recently, where I've put my trust out to people and then they turn. And they're
Mm.
suddenly in this situation, thinking, well, how do I get to this position? I go, okay, bye. Thank you, bye. And therefore I'm quick out. I'm really quick out. And rather than thinking, well, I can heal this situation. No, there was a real, not a betrayal. It's not really as bad as betrayal, but there was a flip where all of a sudden, wow, I didn't realize I was in this position with you. And
Mm.
that's really when we use our intuition, we can. I now tend to feel in the back of my mind there's something wrong with this relationship or this conversation or there's this interaction. Let's find out where it's going to go. And therefore, I'm not protective, but more open and let it flow and let it flow, let it flow, let it
Yes.
flow. And then when it flows off the table, you go, there it goes, bye. And then it's gone. So I think, yeah, trust is such an important part, but it's part of your intuition, isn't it? Your pineal gland. We call it the upper
Yeah.
Dan John or the sixth
Mm.
chakra. Because when
Yeah.
that's blocked, um, I know Joe Dispenza talks about this when with getting, which is what we do in our Qigong classes, is pushing that spinal cord fluid into that area of the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, and that shoots out electricity and then brings back in electricity. And when that electricity comes back, when I'm dealing with these people, that's when I get that little bit off feeling that, like, well, there's something not happening with this, which is why I love my Qigong practice, which is why I kept trying to get everybody to do it because I think it's amazing. But it's helped me to do that. So I realize I can understand those feelings that, yeah, there's something off here, but we'll see where it goes. And sometimes it goes to a really wonderful place. There's other times it goes to nowhere. And so therefore, actually, I think the trust is trusting yourself, isn't it?
Oh yes, 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 exactly. And sometimes you, for me, it happened many times. I know, for example, that this is a bad situation, this is bad choice, this is a bad person, but I have a feeling I have to go there. And I just have trust that everything, the outcome will be good. The outcome will be positive. I just have to get these lessons, and I just have to have this journey, because sometimes, and not sometimes, maybe most often, we learn most and get most from most painful situations.
Yes.
And there are no bad people, bad situations. I think there are only good teachers, great teachers. And
Yes.
from those things and those people, we learn best. And trust, yeah, I loved what you mentioned, that it's trusting yourself, trusting your higher self, trusting your universe, guide, gods, yeah, whatever you call it, but just be aligned, be in tune, and believe that everything happens for a reason. Everything happens not to you but for you.
Yeah.
And with this trust, to go with the flow, to
Yeah.
go with the flow.
Because it's really hard. I know this happened to me, and I understand it when it happens to other people. They keep banging into these things, bang, 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 bang. Oh my goodness me, my life is so bad. It's all conspiring against me. Usually when you haven't unraveled or unpicked that same situation is happening, but just with different people. It's a different scenario, different set of rules, a different set of parts to the game that you haven't seen. And as soon as you start to unravel that and go, actually, that's all about me. This is all about me. This is about me. Um, Recently, it was about what happened with me. I'll be very personal here. What happened with me with somebody is about doing something half baked or half cocked or half serious, not really properly in. And I'm
Yes.
just wheedling that out of myself now, completely wheedling it out myself. And these scenarios came up where I was in front of other people who weren't really in what I was trying to do. And I'm going, this is interesting. Where's this going to go? And
Okay.
so I really felt for the person who was doing this to me, because I'm thinking, oh, this is where I am, but you're in a bigger place than me doing that. And then I thought, okay, well, we just release it all, and it's all gone. And I'm thinking,
Mhm.
okay. And after doing that, I felt a little bit uncomfortable inside of myself. Now I feel, whoa, I'm free again. I've released from that feeling that I could, especially as a musician, I could have done things half baked. Oh yeah, that'll do. Let's move on to the next bit, and then let's get to the bar. It's kind of
Yeah.
terrible scenario. Now I want to do things properly and make sure that I'm stepping forward properly inside of myself. So this is me. So when you meet me, not just presenting to the camera, this is who I am. This is me, and I know this is who you are as well as you're speaking, and this is it. This is what you're going to get as soon as you meet. You're not going to see this anybody else but me. So this is about unraveling all of this stuff from the past and finding who you really are deep down inside, which is, you say, your true self. Because you're connected to higher selves, and then we call it in the Vedas. We call the soul. The soul's like the recorder of your
Mhm.
experiences, past lives and this life. But yet also in the Vedas, they talk about the super soul, which is the connection to God. And it's about moving your conditioned soul, which is, this has had all the conditioning through all your past lives, and then moving that conditioned soul towards the super soul, which is godlike. So you become in cooperation rather than in
Mm.
competition. Because competition, when you look at competition and you take it down to the cellular level, that's where the disease starts in the body. When the mind starts to compete, that's when you find the disease in the mind. When you start to collaborate, that's when the body becomes healthy. When you start to collaborate with the universe, that's when your connection to God gets stronger. Does that make sense?
Yes, I love the word freedom, the word freedom, because for me it's equal to spirituality and
Yes.
to all this stuff you're talking about, because in order to be spiritual, we really have to be free from attachments, from old beliefs, from the system, from many, many, many things. And it's not so easy to reach that point of feeling free. And many people are looking for this freedom, but sometimes using not the right tools because they don't know how to get this feeling. And this feeling is basically connected not with outer things, not outer reality, but only the feeling. Because I can feel free going to corporate job and doing the stuff that we mostly don't associate with the, freedom. But it's about free soul. It's about free spirit. It's about me doing my own choices, following my heart, following my intuition, serving people, and not feeling like a slave in this on this earth.
Mm.
We have on this earth we have only one this avatar, yeah. So for me, it's about enjoying this journey, whatever it means. And there's not such a thing as better goals, better things. And for me, it's also about spirituality, ego, because a lot of people, I met a lot of people, and we have in our country those people as well who now go this spirituality path, and they feel like they are better than everyone else, like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
spiritual path is better than any other path. But at some point, I also had these moments in my journey. But at some point I realized that it doesn't matter if a person goes to church, is really spiritual by his approach, or doing meditations, or is a teacher. It's the same spirituality can come from simple worker, yeah, who's doing a simple job but just doing with his heart and serving people. It can be your neighbor who's very nice, and just he doesn't understand all these uh, chakra thing. Maybe he doesn't even pray to God, but he's a genuine person, and that's enough. We
Mm.
don't have all of us, we don't have to be teachers, guides, and we just have to follow ourselves, our high selves, whatever that means. And imagine if everyone would be a teacher or coach, or yoga, yeah, or yogi, or I don't know. It wouldn't be fun at all. We wouldn't enjoy this journey. And
No.
only because we have different people, only because we have darkness, we have the balance of light, of spirituality, of the force that driving change.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And it was say for what was his name? Akhenaten, who was one of the Egyptian pharaohs who changed the dynasties of the pharaohs by saying, actually, it's what's behind the sun is where your spirituality comes from. Whatever created the sun, we believe we have the sun god Ra, and we have all these other gods, but it's what's behind the sun, which is the God. And you
Mm.
have, and he said to the Egyptian people, you have direct access to that. You don't need all these Egyptian high priests and all this. And of course, all the high priests go, hang on a minute, this guy's cutting in on our business. We have to get rid of him. So they got rid of him. And yes,
Yeah.
it's I find it very arrogant actually when someone says, I am the voice of God. God comes through to me. I've spoken to people like that who saying, come into my community and I will protect you because I am the protector of this physical domain. And saying, well, I can do that for myself. Thank you. I can do that for myself. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
so spiritual ego is incredible in a spiritual space, but we did learn about that in the Tao teachings that we did in my Qigong training to become a Dharma master. We talked about spiritual ego. And yes, it is tempting because when you do have these experiences and revelations, and you have, say, for instance, a few years ago, I remember opening up my channel thinking, do I carry on with this? Do I stop? And then just a little whisper said, keep going, Peter, keep going. I went, all right, I'll keep going then. And it was that. It was just that little whisper that made me think, okay, I'll carry on with this. And I'm glad I do. I'll carry on doing this every day. but it's your connection. It's not anybody else's business really. You have your teachers and your guides and your gurus, but that's what I found incredible with my research was the Indian philosophy, for instance, is very male, right? Well, you look at the temples like the Taj Mahal, it's very square and like male
Yeah.
orientated with the guru telling you this is how it is. This is it, right? This is how you get to a spiritual path. So India, then that Indian knowledge came down with the Buddhism and the Buddha into Southeast Asia. They took on that philosophy, which is they took on the martial arts, the Vedic martial arts, and also yoga into like Shaolin monk, kung fu, and also qigong. So that kind of thing came down. But then they came up with the Tao philosophy, which is very
Mhm.
female, very
Yeah.
flowing and beautiful. So with a Tao garden, for instance, you can't tell when the garden finishes and nature begins because it's the same. It just flows in. That's where Feng Shui comes from. It's the flow, it's the female energy. So you got the male, the female, and then Jesus pops up on the earth, which was he was
Mhm.
told, he was predicted in the Vedic scripts, the Upanishads of India, that Jesus the Messiah will turn up on the earth when he did. So I find that like, wow, that's incredible. And of course, that has been taken over. What he brought in love. So you got the male, the female, and then the heart, the love, which is what in our philosophy you got the lower danjon, the upper danjon, and the heart, which is what they would call Brahma, the creator, Shiva, the destroyer, and Vishnu, the
Mm.
embracer. So you've got the female energy rising, male energy falling. We've just had the top down male energy whole astrological cycle. And I'm fed up with it now, looking out, talking about society and conditioning. Male top down. Now we've got female rising. So hopefully we're going to go into balance, which is what Jesus was talking about. You need to be with all. So because I believe Mary Magdalene was is his one his possibly his wife, which is like, oh my goodness me, that's heresy. But she was so important in that whole setup of the disciples, and all of that has been written out of the history books, all of it virtually, apart from she wasn't written out completely because that would have been too obvious. But I feel that that whole divine feminine um, influence on that whole movement of which came out of the Gnostics, the Gnostic tradition of finding it inside of yourself, experiencing your life on this earth and making you be a human being, which is a being, which is the being part of it is your Christos, the light inside of you. And I just find this whole thing has been, as you quite rightly say, has been so twisted out of place that we have these spiritual egos that come up and they go, well, why do I have to follow you? And I had it through my training as well. I got to the point where I'm thinking, this is hero worship. This is not what I find to be spiritual. I just find it as hero worshiping now. It gets to a point where you think, why am I worshiping that when actually this is my own path and this is what I need to
Mm.
find? So I think you're so right with that in saying it doesn't matter whether you're flying high, sitting at the
Mm.
bottom of the society, wherever you are in your life, if you can find that inner feeling, that inner meaning inside of you, doesn't matter if you've got no money or you've got all the money in the world, you will find a better life in that respect. So yeah, it's incredible. What's the main if there was a religion in Lithuania, what would be the main religion?
Mhm. Most of us are, grew up as Catholics, but we
Catholics.
don't have, yeah, but we don't have like country's religion officially. It's just the majority is Catholic, but not everyone is going to church. I noticed that in UK it's you're more like in general you're more religious people. In Lithuania, there's still a big part who are Catholic, go to church, and they are really more conservative people. Um, but many, especially youth, they they don't belong to any religion. Officially, they might say that they are Catholic, but they are not doing any practices. So that's how, it divides. There are a lot of people who are like Catholics. They are not interested in any spirituality in the way we talk, or energetic stuff. They are really conservative and with very limited, let's say, understanding of the religion. And there's another part of people, who got out of that, and they are looking in a broader perspective, even into religion, into all the Christianity. If you really read the Bible, if you really understand the Bible, you can really be spiritual and understand things not in a limited way, but it takes courage. It takes will, not just to follow the rules, but just to be open and understand what's really behind these words and these ideas, and other people who are open to many religions or spiritual path, and there are also people who are like me, for example, trying a lot of different things and creating something that is my own, because I feel that my journey is not one path, one specific path. Of course, I was raised as a Catholic, and I have these values and I respect my religion. It's culturally mine. But at the same time, I'm really open-minded to all the religions, all the spiritual paths.
Mm.
But the only thing for me is I believe that this path shouldn't hurt person, because there's also a lot of bad stuff happening, and even in Lithuania we have a lot of stuff, but not all the stuff is good, and you can go to wrong teachers, and you um, can get really damaged there. So it's like everywhere in the world, where's light there's darkness, so you have to be cautious. And I'm open-minded and trying to gather from each of the paths something that resonates with me. I'm changing practices all the time. For some time I do meditations, for another time I do dancing, and it's very interesting how it changed when moving to UK. I have a healer, and she told, and in Lithuania, I was doing yoga, and I was really happy with yoga practices and a lot of slow meditations, slow practices. And I felt good. And I also in Lithuania, I needed a lot of me time as a highly sensitive person. I needed nature. I needed everything being slow. But she told me, when you move to UK, you'll see how things change. And it really changed.
Yeah.
Even being a highly sensitive person, I'm really active here. I don't do yoga anymore. I, go to fitness classes and dance classes every day. I need to, muscles. I need strength. There's a lot of people, I have to manage my energy, and I'm fine. Of course, I need extra, energetic cleaning practices because a lot of stuff is happening.
Mm.
Being around a lot of people, going in metros, and feeling all these difficult energies. It takes strength, and it requires new practices. And for me, I couldn't move here. Now I realize I couldn't move here before. I needed to do a lot of work in order to make this quantum shift, in order to make this energetic shift. Because for the first times I came to UK after Tony Robbins event. It was almost every month. I felt like my energy is drained all the time. I spent a lot of money. I didn't have energy. I didn't do much. Like I was it was all mess, because at that time I couldn't manage my energy. And but slowly I came to that point that I know that I can be in charge of that. But that all my routines had to change. And if I would be stuck into one path, that I have to do this, I get up and have my prayer and do that, I would be stuck, because at this point I had to change everything, and I'm still sometimes looking and changing what I have to do. For example, first thing I do right now, I get up from my bed and go for a walk. I never did that in Lithuania.
Mm.
Tea was my first thing to do, because I needed to be slow, and now this intensity of London, of the city, I don't know about other parts of the country. But I feel that I have to be in tune with that and find my own ways to find peace in that busy city. And
Mm.
I'm trying to do that, and most of the times I'm grateful that I'm lucky and I'm successful in doing that. But I'm still learning. I'm still looking for these ways.
Yeah, it's difficult. I know, especially coming into a country that is possibly more people per square meter than in Lithuania, much more. So it's difficult, but it is getting into a regular practice that your subconscious is not rejecting is really hard,
Yeah.
because you have to change your habits to adapt to the environment, because we are so adaptable as human beings, but we have to change our
Yeah.
habits. Me, for instance, 20 years ago, if I were to do the Dharma Master training that I do every day now, before I
Mm.
even start the day, I'm up at 6 in the morning, and then I do like 45 minutes of training, strength training, Qigong training. It's all part getting the body ready for this, so I'm more resilient, and I can turn this energy on straight away, even when I'm sitting down and relaxing and just being there, and then I can turn it in, come into this energy place straight away, where I don't need to be there all the time. So now I can, when I'm driving the car, I'm really in a really low sort of energy state, so I'm conserving energy, so
Mm.
I can bring this out at any point. So it is about learning to conserve your energy, but also protecting yourself from this negative energy that's all around us. It's everywhere, and
Mm.
it's starting to dissipate. I'm feeling it starting to dissipate, especially around me, because I really do love that Heart Math Institute research about the heart chakra, or the heart
Okay.
energy, whatever you want to call it. And it's when you start to resonate that into your field around you, you'll start to attract that back to you. The law of attraction is one of the hermetic principles
Mm.
that people seem to think that the law of attraction's just the law of attraction. Actually, is a hermetic principle about this plane being, everything is mental on this plane, and this energy attraction will bring in that different energy. So
Mm.
again, as we're talking about, if we're not dealing with the lower energies that we're actually stuck in, we're going to be
Yeah.
attracting that lower energy. So if you start to come into the heart and open the heart up a little bit more, that's when this new energy comes
Mm.
in. So yeah, amazing stuff. You've
Mm.
had a
Mm.
incredible time doing
Mm.
what you're doing. So yeah, I was
Thank
raised a
you.
Catholic. I was raised a Catholic, and I think if I would have had children, which I didn't have children. So if I'd have had children, I would have raised them Catholic as well, because I thought the actual ethos of being kind to other people, being respectful of
Mm.
other
Yeah.
people, making sure that you're looking after the family and looking after the people in your community. I think that whole ethos is brilliant. I just didn't like the control system of some of the
Yeah.
priests. Like, so, because one of the schools I went to, some of the priests and the monks have actually been banned from being near children. Now that's how bad they
Mm.
were, and that was not how. So I remember going to my first religious studies class. I mean, this is how I was. I was really anti-establishment. I went into that class and they started talking about Jesus. I had this like resonance inside me, thinking, "Who is
Mm.
this guy? Jesus, this sounds amazing."
Mm.
And then after the monk had been speaking for about an hour, I put my hand up and said, "Well, why aren't you all you monks living like Jesus?" And he said, "Get out of the class, get out of the class." So I always had that questioning mind to think there's something deeper to
Mm.
this. There's something deeper to my existence on this planet to make me feel like I've got to speak up, but I have to speak up in certain ways, because when I start to, like you say, you went to a political rally. When I started to get into politics, I realized how much that puts its suckers into you, and sucks you in and pulls you into
Yeah.
like certain viewpoints. So when you come up with, well, this is the solution to this. Well, no, what about this? And then what about this? And what about this? And which is why I
Mm.
love the Tao philosophy, because it's actually walking the middle way. So you're seeing, like you said earlier, the dark, and you see the light. You go into the middle way, which is where we are, because we're in between the light and the dark.
Mm.
And a lot of the darkness is created by us, because
Oh, yeah.
of what we do, and the energy that we put out. And it's that freedom of choice people don't understand is so important to take seriously. You have this freedom of choice, especially when it comes to things like eating. and your
Oh,
interactions with other human beings and what you put on your body. All of those is you have the choice to do all of that. And people go, oh, you're a bit healthy, or you're a bit eco-conscious, or you're a bit this, you're a bit that. Not really. I'm just trying to find the best way that I can collaborate with my environment and the people inside of my environment and the people who come into my environment and the people I invite into my environment. I want to collaborate with them all the best I possibly can so that
mm,
there's always smiles on people's faces. You know
mm.
why we smile? Do you know why we smile?
Tell me.
We release serotonin into the brain, which makes
Yeah.
all the neural um, transfers work better. It's
Mm,
a hormone that makes all the brain work better. So all your synapses that are
mm,
firing together when you smile, it all works better. So we
mm.
call it in my Qigong class, we put our hands on our heart and focus on a joyful
Oh,
moment in your heart. Send it up to
mm,
your brain because one of the major
mm,
principles is good news makes a good brain.
mm.
This has been really good news speaking to you,
Oh
Raminta,
yeah,
today.
lovely, lovely to speak. Thank you, thank you. It was my honor, yeah, to be invited and to know you, to know you,
Yeah,
and I'm so lucky to meet so amazing people here in London. Maybe it's law of attraction because I meet really really good people, and I'm really happy about that.
good for you. Good for you.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah,
How
thank
do,
you
how do people
for having
contact
me.
you if they want to go further with you, have a conversation with you? How do the people contact with you?
Social media is the best way, so I can put links under the video. Yeah, my name and surname Raminta. You can follow me on or we can become friends on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. And yeah, let's keep in touch. If you have any questions or want to share something, I'm always open.
Beautiful. Another highly sensitive human being blossoming into this world. I love it. I love it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so see you the next show. Bye for
Bye
now.
bye. See
Bye
ya.
bye bye
See
bye
ya.
bye bye bye.